Hey guys, 2 days ago HBO released a short clip from the final season. After breaking it down in this video, I'm going to introduce you with popular theory that came out of it. It states that Sansa Stark's betrayal over Jon Snow has now officially been confirmed. In a scene that mirrors the Season 1, Episode 1 arrival of Cersei Lannister and Robert Baratheon to Winterfell, Sansa welcomes Jon and Dany to Winterfell. Although polite on the surface, the moment is fraught with tension, as fans try to ascertain Sansa's true feelings. Dany walks towards Sansa, who greets her with, "Winterfell is yours, Your Grace," the very same line her father Ned said to King Robert when he arrived at Winterfell in the very first season. These are the only words spoken in the clip, but a lot more is implied through Sansa's expression. Sansa's got no choice but to bend the knee to the Dragon Queen, and she certainly is not so happy about it. The proud North is not as open to bowing to Dany as Jon did. They see her as a foreign ruler that comes to their lands with dragons and foreign armies to conquer it. Right after this new promo was dropped, many fans started looking up Sophie's interviews to see if Sansa's betrayal might have been hinted, and they did find something which they claim is supporting their theory of Sansa betraying Jon Snow. Sophie Turner, an actress that plays Sansa Stark, appears to have hinted that Sansa will turn her back on Jon Snow. Sophie said in an interview that the final season has war, danger and betrayal, which many fans think stands for her character's betrayal over Jon Snow. In the last season, Lord Peter Baelish was sensationally killed at the hands of Sansa and her sister Arya last season when he so foolishly tried to play them off each other. His plan foiled, his throat was slit, and the Starks proved they are a force not to be reckoned with. However, Sophie has revealed that Sansa will take the guidance of Littlefinger with her, which may not bode well for Jon Snow. She has used Littlefinger for all he has, Sophie explained to Digital Spy. As she said, "Thank you for all your lessons. He has nothing left to give her." Sophie continues with, "She is so empowered. She has a family behind her. She's got wisdom of Littlefinger, Cersei, Marjorie, everyone's wisdom and teachings all behind her. She's a real trial leader of Winterfell now." Cersei and Littlefinger might not be the most encouraging role models, but when it comes to playing the game, they're the best players, and definitely someone you should look up to. Kit Harington also said in one interview there are the same problems. She questions his decisions and command, he doesn't listen to her. But as far as where that goes or takes them or how dark it can get, we'll see. It gets past sibling squabbling, it gets into two people power struggling. Fans theorize that Sansa will betray Jon in the final season and claim that all the Season 8 release footage have confirmed it. If you're a fan of this theory, I have to disappoint you, for it's just on the contrary. The official theses have confirmed that such betrayal will not take place. Sansa will not betray Jon Snow nor Dany. How has it been confirmed? It's been revealed by Entertainment Weekly, who has been providing the first exclusive look at what's to come in the next season of Game of Thrones ever since it started, and this year was no different. They shared some legit spoilers for the final season, which besides Battle for Winterfell and much more, other teasers also included a detailed description of the opening scene. There they described the tense meeting between Lady Sansa and Queen Dany, with Sansa not being thrilled that Jon bent the knee to his fancy new Targaryen girlfriend, or at least not at first. So Sansa not being thrilled with Jon bending the knee to Queen Dany part is happening in Episode 1 opening scene, and now we are waiting for, or at least not at first part, to happen as well, and make no mistake, it will eventually. This confirms our discussion of the very first Season 8 clip that we received and discussed some few months ago here on the channel. When HBO shared this clip, I explained that even though the hug shared does not feel all that warm, we should not worry about Sansa's intentions or even Sansa's possible betrayal over Jon Snow, as some suggested. Instead, I explained that the reason why Sansa may be glaring over Jon's shoulder could possibly be Dany, and there even may be a tension between Sansa and Jon's new lover, which has now been confirmed. The post also states that Sansa is not thrilled with Jon bending the knee to Dany, but notice how it says, or at least not at first. As I said in my previous videos, Dany is not heading north to conquer the North, but rather to save it, and that's something the Northern Lords will see for themselves in the very beginning of the final season. Sansa is smart enough to realize that without Jon bending the knee to Dany, they'd lose their best hope in the coming storm, dragons. Sansa will also eventually see for herself who Dany truly is and what her true intention is, and will without a doubt accept her as the North's most trusted ally and its only hope. Sansa has learned from all these best players in the Game of Thrones, but she would never use all that wisdom and teachings against her own family. She will use all she has learned against her actual enemies, such as Cersei Lannister. For the final season of Game of Thrones, you can definitely expect plenty of twists and turns, but Sansa betraying Jon Snow is definitely not happening. Another very popular theory that's been confirmed not to come true is Jon Snow having a twin sister. The long-standing theory of Jon not being Ned's son, that he's actually Lyanna and Rhaegar's legitimate son, and is therefore both Stark and Targaryen, came true throughout the last few seasons. The name of the series is A Song of Ice and Fire, and theorists think that it solved the mystery of the series' key character Jon Snow. Because he combines both Snow, Stark and Fire, he has fire blood of the dragon-riding Targaryen family too. Anyways, thanks to the show's focus on the Tower of Joy, a 4-year-old theory has resurfaced, which suggests Jon Snow wasn't the only child born in Tower of Joy. Ned went to the tower with 6 men, and the only other survivor of the battle with 2 members of the Kingsguard was Howland Reed. He's the father of Jojen and Meera Reed, the Cranogman who helped Bran reach their 3-eyed raven. But there are a few reasons to believe that Meera is actually Jon's twin sister, and that Howland Reed took her as his own to his home in Greywater Watch. Here they are. She's the same age as Jon Snow. According to George R. R. Martin's appendices, Meera and Jon were both born in the same year Lyanna Stark died in the Tower of Joy. All we know about Meera's mother is her name. Meera Reed doesn't appear in the books at all, she's only referred to. Lyanna died in childbirth. Theorists believe it's more likely that Lyanna would have died in childbirth if she was giving birth to twins. Halland Reed owed the death to Lyanna Stark. Ned was Lyanna's brother, so the reason he'd taken a child of Lyanna is clear. But why would Halland Reed take the baby Meera back home with him? There's a story set at the tourney at Harrenhal which explains why. Fans explain it's because he owed Lyanna. Once upon a time, Halland was being set upon by a group of teenage squires. As he was being beaten up, Lyanna intervened and beat him off with a tourney sword. She took him back to her tent, bandaged him, and introduced him to her brothers Ned, Brandon, and Benjen. Later in the tourney, a figure known as the Knight of the Laughing Tree fought on behalf of Halland, defending his honor, challenging and defeating all three of knights that the three squires that bullied Halland served, winning custody of their horses and armor. None of them were especially popular, so the small folk cheered for the mysterious Knight of the Laughing Tree. When the defeated trio sought to ransom back their former property, the knight declared these terms, that they ought to teach their rude squire's honor. The trio proceeded to chastise their squire sharply. No one ever found out who the knight was, but many fans believe it was Lyanna, and many evidence support it. If this is the case, Halland would have felt even more indebted to her. Another evidence theorists claim support his theory is like Lyanna, Meera is a good fighter. There's often a point made about Arya being unusual, and similar to her aunt Lyanna because of her enjoyment of fighting and her skill with weapons. At one point, Ned remarks that Arya reminds him of his sister. He tells her Lyanna would have carried a sword if her father had allowed it. Likewise, Meera is accomplished with weaponry, much more than her brother Jojen. Another evidence fans have to offer is Meera's appearance, which is a bit like Arya, Lyanna Stark, and Jon Snow. She's got long brown hair, and in the show it's as curly as Jon's. Arya and Lyanna are often compared to one another, and in the books their physical prowess is much of a focus than looks for both Arya and Meera's descriptions. Contradicting the idea that Meera's looks confirm her heritage are some negative points. As is typical of Crannogmen, Meera is short and slim. Meera has green eyes, something associated with neither the Starks nor the Targaryens. Rhaegar's eyes are purple, while Lyanna and Jon have grey eyes. Ellie Kendrick, an actress who plays Meera, addressed the theory with, "I genuinely don't have any idea, as we don't get told anything, but I don't know. I think people might just be thinking that because we both got curly hair." In the books, Stark characters are described quite differently. I think there's definitely a mystery to Meera and Jojen and their parentage, but I think it will unveil itself eventually. Fans claim that the evidence in favor of R plus J equals J plus M is fairly convincing. In the show, Jon and Meera look strikingly similar. And who was with Ned Stark when he went to Lyanna at the Tower of Joy? None other than Meera's supposed father, Halland Reed. So if Meera is indeed Jon's twin, and if anyone was to take in Lyanna's other child to raise as his own, Halland would be the most plausible. But maybe the most damning piece of evidence is the fact that Lyanna Stark died in the same year both Jon and Meera were born. The logistics and timeline match up. Both Harrington and Kendrick share the same shaggy curls, and yet this theory never sounded right to me. The Starks are known for their grey eyes, a fact often mentioned in Martin's novels. Meera's eyes are green, not even the violet the Targaryens are known for. George R. R. Martin seemingly hasn't stated a twin reveal between Jon and Meera in the books at all. Meera spends all of her time with Bran in A Song of Ice and Fire, and if she did bear such a striking resemblance to the elder Stark brother, wouldn't Bran have mentioned it, even internally? So it's highly likely that the resemblance between Meera and Jon is pure coincidence. Matter of fact, it's been officially confirmed that Meera is not Jon's twin sister. How? With Meera not coming back to the show for its final season. The Game of Thrones has a lot of characters, and with 6 episodes left there may not be enough time to feature all of them, and one of them is Meera Reed. Actress says she hadn't heard anything from HBO about whether her character was coming back. "I wait for the phone to ring and then I find out, but it hasn't rung, so I don't know," she told Digital Spy. She continued with, "I'll find out whether I am or not at some point, but for now I have not been notified, so I'm yet to discover." This was after the cast table read, and if she was not part of that, she will not be part of the final 6 episodes. For the Jon has a twin sister Meera theory to come true, it would require a revelation scene with Meera Reed, and since she's not coming back, this theory is officially not going to come true. If Meera was Jon's twin, a Targaryen, if she was that important, she'd most definitely make an appearance in the final season of Game of Thrones. But since she doesn't, this popular theory is yet another one that's going down as just an interesting thought that's not going to come true. In conclusion, none of these 2 popular fan theories are coming true in the final season. Sansa is not betraying Jon Snow, nor Dany for that matter, and Meera Reed is not Jon's twin sister. She's a Reed and you'll never see her again in Game of Thrones. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.